So one of the problems with inflation, as we understand it, is in the United States, we're told like, oh, they're coming out with the inflation numbers. We were targeting 2%, but it was actually 6%. And I think a lot of people rightfully assume, in my opinion, even though it's an incorrect assumption, that if the CPI or the Consumer Price Index comes back and says that we've experienced 6% inflation this year, that it means we printed another 6% of the U.S. dollar supply. Like if the supply is $10 trillion, that we just added another 600 billion. And in reality, that has absolutely nothing to do with the actual reported inflation. That would be called monetaristic inflation, meaning it follows the idea of monetarism or supply side thinking, and that's what we use in crypto a lot. It's like, oh, Bitcoin's not inflationary because eventually we stop printing Bitcoin. Whereas if we were actually buying our groceries in Bitcoin, the CPI could come in and be like, oh, Bitcoin deflated at 20% this year because the price of Bitcoin went up. So when we hear that that we had 6% inflation in a year, let's say, what that actually means is that the price of the dollar went down by 6%. And a lot of people aren't used to thinking of the dollar as a tradable asset, even though it's the most tradable asset globally. Whereas if you buy Bitcoin, it's like, oh, I'm tracking Bitcoin against dollars. If you buy gold or Tesla stock, it's like, oh, I'm looking at this trade against dollars. And what is the dollar trade against? Well, you can flip it. Oh, well, let's look at the dollar trading in units of Bitcoin, or let's look at the dollar trading in units of gold. But globally speaking, how we measure this is the dollar trading against the Consumer Price Index, which is a basket of goods, which is what a regular consumer is going to trade their goods for. Like I'm going to trade my dollars for shampoo and electricity and whatever other else my regular bills are. But basically, it's to say that the dollar is going down. It's good that it's going down, but it's going down a lot faster than a lot of people are ready for. And we're still not properly monitoring the supply side. We're still not tracking how much is actually being printed.